Hello friends, Ace Botane, next episode. In this episode, we'll be discussing first part of Morphology of Flowering Plants. A theoretical chapter, practical exam point of view, it includes some topics. Comparatively easy topic, memory-based topic. Entrance point of view, usually 3 or 4 questions we can anticipate from this chapter normally. So we can enter Morphology of Flowering Plants. So I will share the screen so it will be convenient for you. I think screen came. So we can proceed. This page you may be observed in NCERT book. And there they put chapter 5, Morphology of Flowering Plants, then Anatomy, then Structural Organization of Animals, topics in this unit. 3 chapters. 2 will be botanical, 1 will be more towards zoology. So what we have to do is Morphology of Flowering Plants. So you may ask why I put this NCERT page. Here they are describing about some general aspects. Theoretical way, naturalist, how they explain it. Then how we can proceed this study likewise. After this, there is a famous term given here. You may be noticed, may not be noticed in NCERT book, reductionist biology. So what is meant by that term? For that only I put this page. So I will explain it as we proceed further. Reductionist biology. And generally they explain the content of this area in this page. Now when we proceed to second page of NCERT, again, you may be observe this page where you can find a photograph that already we studied in anatomy. Catherine Issavu, contribution of this famous scientist, absolutely dominated this world according to Peter Raven. Anatomy, many books she wrote. Then we have many descriptions given, Catherine Issavu. Then after that, what all content will be discussed in this chapter, like introduction, root, stem, leaf. That's why it is not clear here. Each item we will be explaining. So many contents will be there. Areas we have to discuss. And below it, I explain what is meant by reductionist biology. Many way we can define it most simple manner. It is a practice of breaking down the biological systems into their parts to understand how they function. Other way when we say it is the living process got more attention than descriptions. That way, that is the meaning of the term reductionist biology. Now we can proceed to our topic after introduction, etc. That is chapter 5, Morphology of Flowering Plants. Here we can find the content. Introduction is there. This photograph is old NCERT photograph when the morphology begins. And below that, there is a famous statement given. Morphology is one of the most interesting branches of biology and may almost said to be its very soul. And this comment was given by the famous scientist Charles Darwin. NCERT only we can find not this edition, previous editions. And what all things we'll be learning? Introduction. Then mainly root we'll be discussing after 5 theory question, 5 NEET model question as usual. Meanwhile, I already started to put NEET model question and the discussion. One is already over. That is regarding respiration plants, 34 question with the discussion and key. Already there in your channel Ace Botane. Similar manner, we will be doing it once in a week. So subscribe the channel so you'll be getting it automatically. Along with it, we'll be getting to theory description, etc. So we can proceed to second page. So what is meant by the term morphology? Morphology basically means study of the external physical structure. Morpho means external, morphism, external form. So physical structure, form, and its development in plants. Here, we will be discussing about, mainly in this episode, it will be root system. And below that, you can find 2 photographs, both NCERT. I think this is previous one, this is new one, that way, NCERT. And there, why I put this diagram? One is the simple labeling. Second, in this diagram, specifically first one, we can find they represent it as having 2 systems. It can be a question. One system is below soil, other system is above soil. Below soil, it is called root system. Above soil, it is called shoot system, which bears leaves, flowers, fruits, seed, all this. For that only just given the 2 diagram to show 2 systems. NCERT figure 5.1. I think idea clear. Now we can proceed to next page. Root or main topic. So when we discuss with the root, what is structure, what is the function, how protection for root is done, this way we'll be proceeding. A typical root normally develops from the radicle of the embryo. This we studied in plant growth and development already still. So typically developed from radicle of the embryo. Plumule will give rise to stem or shoot. So normally root is positively geotrophic, that is moving towards soil, and negatively phototrophic, moving away from light. No chlorophyll. Normally we cannot find chlorophyll. No chlorophyll. Normally it is absent. Exceptions are there, but normally chlorophyll is absent in root because it is going to the soil, so no light. Roots are generally descending part of a plant axis. Nodes, buds, and leaves are generally absent. Root can have endogenous lateral branches. Certain roots can do photosynthesis. Certain roots. And such roots are called assimilatory roots. Example is trap antinosperm. Not in direct syllabus, but just mentioned. And here the diagram. This is typical NCERT diagram showing taproot, fibrous root, adventitious root. Below it, these two old NCERT, taproot, then fibrous root, then followed by adventitious root. Now we have to check what is meant by these three root types. So we can proceed. First is taproot system. See here, taproot means radicle, elongates to give primary root. And this type of root system is typically seen in dicots. That means there is a large main root. From the diagram, it is very clear. Here we can find. And have secondary, tertiary roots, etc. Totally called that system as taproot system, typically dicots. And second type of root system is called fibrous root system. Here, primary root is short-lived. Short-lived has got another typical term. It is called ephemeral. NCERT, many areas you can find the term ephemeral. Ephemeral means short-lived. So when primary root is gone, the plant has to survive. So it is replaced by a number of roots originate from the base of the stem. Typically in monocots, we can find that is called fibrous root system. And third is adventitious root system. See here, roots develops, specialized root or roots develops from other than the radicle of the embryo. Typically seen in plants like banyan tree, monstera, grasses, etc. That is adventitious. So three types of root system: taproot, fibrous root, adventitious. With the example. Now we can proceed to main functions of. Many functions will be there for each structure. Some will be exception, but here mainly important normal functions of roots. One is absorption of water and minerals. We know it. Second, giving a proper support or anchorage to the plant. Third is storing reserve food material. Fourth is synthesis of some plant growth regulators, hormones. Now, after this function, theory question, NCERT, all these are NCERT. Now we have to proceed to another important diagram-based theory, NEET exam question, regions of a typical root or root tip. Here it is very clear, all marked very clearly in NCERT. One by one we can proceed. Diagram to draw, identify, labeling question, function, all are important. So one by one we can proceed. So first one, starting from here, base we can start. Root cap, which is otherwise called calyptra. So root cap is covered, root is covered at the apex. Apex means tip, by a thimble-like structure. That is called root cap or calyptra. See this one, this part they are mentioning. This is going towards soil. So to protect the soft part of the root tip, it is covered by root cap, protection. So root is covered at the apex. Apex means basal part, okay, tip, by a thimble-like structure, the root cap, which is otherwise called calyptra, which is multicellular and parenchymatous. And above it, you can find this area. That is this area, just above the root cap, this area, region of meristematic activity. A few millimeters above the root cap or calyptra is the region of meristematic activity. So all the features of meristem will be there. It is thin walled, have dense cytoplasm, cells are small, will divide and produce new cell. That is region of meristematic activity. And third area above meristematic activity, that is called region of elongation. You can find cells proximal to the meristematic region, proximal to the point of attachment. So cells proximal to the meristematic area region will undergo rapid elongation. Enlargement will cause the growth of root in length. So that is why it is called region of elongation. After that, we can find region of maturation, where we can find cells of the elongation zone gradually differentiate. In the diagram, we can easily find gradually differentiate and mature. Thus, the zone proximal to the elongation region is the region of maturation. So here, root cap, meristematic activity, elongation, maturation. So labeling question, theory question, important for exam point of view. So proximal to elongation region is the region of maturation. And in this region of maturation, we can find root hairs. And you'll be remembering root hairs are unicellular and root hair forming cells are called trichoblast that we studied in anatomy also. And many numerous root hairs can be seen. Their function is increasing surface area. So I think that 4 regions clear, important for exam. So root cap area, calyptra, region of meristematic activity, then region of elongation, region of maturation. I think idea clear. We can proceed to next page. So root tip protections. Many way root tip can be protected. So most common symbol is root cap or calyptra diagram you can find here. Normal one. Then in certain plants, we can find multiple root cap. Typical example is pentanus, which is otherwise called screw pine. And third one is another interesting item that is root pockets. These are not in direct syllabus except the typical one, but just to put some extra item for the exam purpose. A root pocket. See, root pockets mean in certain aquatic plants, that is floating aquatic plants. So they may lose the balance. So to keep the balance, root pockets has been provided. Example is pistia. Floating hydrophytes, we can find root pockets. I think these 3 are clear. Now we can proceed to modification of root. Remember, in present NCERT, modifications are not there. But just mentioning only few items. So main function of root is, we already know, anchoring of the plant, absorption of water and minerals from the soil. But under certain circumstances, root has to modify the shape and accordingly perform different functions, which may include storage, protection, respiration, even photosynthesis. That is why the heading came modifications of root. Some modifications include mainly storage of food, respiration, and support. So remember, this topic presently not in NCERT book, but still, if you know, it is good. Now we can proceed to next page. Here only diagram needed. So here we can find it is root modification, mainly taproot modifier. And different shapes are there. Function is to store food material. So one by one. Napiform, here you can find the shape like beetroot. Turnip and beetroot. Conical, it is carrot. Now this is fusiform, as in radish, because we are dealing taproot modification. And here you can find tuberous. Tuberous means irregular shape, irregular. And that is example is mirabilis. So 1, 2, 3, 4 taproot modifications. Now here you can find sweet potato, that is adventitious tuberous. Sweet potato or hypomia. So this 4 taproot modification, this is adventitious tuberous modification. I think these 5 are clear. Only this much. Next is prop root. Prop means support. If you observe large banyan tree, you can find some roots will be hanging down like this. That is for support, and that is why it is called prop root. Finish. Only that much we need. Next is nematophores, connected with the respiratory exchange or gaseous exchange. Typical example is mangroves. And here you can find nematophores, erect structures. And this is the previous NCERT diagram. And on that nematophore, certain openings are there. It is called nematothodes or lenticel. Lenticel we studied in anatomy also. Here also you can find the term lenticel, through which gaseous exchange takes place. That is seen on a structure called nematothodes. Now comes stilt root. Again, for support, weak stemmed plants. From the base of the stem making angle, some roots will develop stilt root, maize, sugarcane, pandanus, or screw pine. So stilt root, support, maize, sugarcane, pandanus, and or otherwise called screw pine. Screw pine already we studied multiple root cap. Stilt root also example is pandanus or screw pine. This actually presently not in syllabus, but I just mentioned for sake. Further details not needed, at least this much is needed. I think it is clear. Now after this, as usual, our 5 theory question, 5 NEET model question with a key. So remember, once again, I started the other series in ACE Botany discussing a chapter, taking the main items of the chapter, covering it, 35, 36 question and discussing it. Okay, it's already one came, that is respiration in plants. Next will be plant growth and development. Soon it will be coming. So subscribe the channel, so you'll be getting it. So what all things we learned in this episode? We can just proceed. See, starting, what all things we'll be learning, what all the content, and reductionist biologist approach. Then famous scientist, Catherine Isavo, her contribution. Then we entered into introduction of morphology with a famous comment made by Charles Darwin. Then we observed two photographs explaining, that is NCERT, shoot system and root system. Then we entered into root. What is a root? What are the characters? That way we proceeded. Then different types of root system, taproot, fibrous root, adventitious root. Now, what are the features of taproot? And what are the features of fibrous root? And what are the features of adventitious root? After that, a famous area, main functions of a root system. Main function, besides this, some more function that we'll be observing last. And this is the important diagram, the regions of a typical root NCERT, theory question, NEET model question, labeling question, and each part, what is their function, what is their name, etc., like root cap or calyptra, the region of meristematic activity, region of elongation, and region of maturation, where we can find unicellular root hairs, root hair forming cells are called trichoblast, etc. Then different types of root tip. This is common one, multiple root cap in pentanus, root pockets in pistia, floating hydrophytes to balance. Then modifications of root, as such, not in syllabus, but just mentioning. It may be for respiration, it may be for storing food material. So besides normal function, anchorage and absorption, some other functions root may able to perform even photosynthesis. So that part is presently not in syllabus. I told you just mentioning. So it will be convenient for you. So this is for taproot modification, food storage. Exception, this 1, 2, then 3, 4. Taproot, while sweet potato is adventitious tuberous. Crop root in banyan tree for support. Then we can find here breathing root, nematophores for respiratory purpose. Respiratory root, rather than breathing root, we can use the term respiratory roots, typically seen in mangroves. Elongated structures are called nematophores, and on which certain openings will be there, that is called nematodes or lenticel. Then stilt root, as in the case of pentanus or screwpine, maize, sugarcane, again for support for weak stemmed plants. Then as usual, we can find 5 theory question, 5 NEET model question with the key. If you like this episode, subscribe all, like it, share it, comment on it. We can meet later with another episode. Again, remember, question series already started. It will be continuing. So please subscribe, ace button, tell to your friends also studying +1 and +2. Respiration in flowering plants already put in the channel 34 question with the discussion, etc. NEET model question. And another series will be, this will be continuing, and more questions will be coming from all chapters and each chapters. So we can wind up. Thank you. We can meet later. Take care. Bye. Thanks.